Hello and welcome to Roller Wiener Monday. We're going early because we got to get out of here early because the Rona's messing up everybody's schedule. So here we are. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Hey, 2 for $3.33 roller wieners. They have pork egg rolls now. Did you know that? An astute viewer sent that picture in. How about that? They're out there. Did you know they're ending the rest area food trucks? Well, that's coming to an end. Antonio Brown takes a plea for attacking that driver. He was caught on video there doing that. All right, nice. But I guess he's not guilty of it because he didn't. He hasn't been convicted of it. So there you go. He will not have a felony. Park transportation abruptly closes. Who's surprised at that? They found a dead body on top of a trailer. Has that ever happened to you? It seems like something that could happen. Got some stock information out there from as usual. And so here we are today. It's Monday, a little early today. Let's see. So on, Michael Mueller was actually first, then Fleet Nav and Wild Bill the other day. And today, Mike Ely first on my, I don't know what I'm even talking about. Over here, the thing I look at. Okay, first today. All right, so Wild Bill is definitely here today. Ryan O'Ryan, thank you for being here. Chad is here. Let's see here. Where am I going? Hello there, Jim Trucker. I'm excited, too. It's great to be here. Frog Lit is here. Eddie McFadden, Roller Wiener Monday. I hope you've got a wiener in your hand right now. Trucker Hershey is here, sweeping out the trailer. Hello, Christina Jones. Anthony Shaw is here. Nice. Paul Vines. Hello there, Luke 1234. Yes, we're doing a little bit early because I got to get out a little bit early. So, dang work. We should all just quit our jobs and we could do whatever we want. Kathy Boyd, what's happening? Let's see. Stan Dodge waiting in Grand Rapids for load to be ready. Nice. Fleet Nav Systems is here. Hello. Good to see you. Imperial NYC. Hey, what's going on? It's good to be here. Let's see. It's only 10:30 where you are. Yeah. Well, we're past 12:30 here. By the way, it's going to be hot later this week. If your air is not working in your truck, get it fixed. We're looking for record heat here. Maybe going to hit 100, depending on who you look at here in Lafayette, Indiana. So get your air fixed if it isn't working. Big Berry Blueberry, man. I like it. Good afternoon, Dan. You will not drive to defunded police city. All right, stay united. Yeah, you know, they had a big survey, CDL Live, for one of those surveyed, and 46% of drivers say no. Now, what are you going to do if your company tells you to do it if you're a company driver? That's a problem. What's up, Michael Mueller? Rest area food trucks to end. I know. No more tacos in, tacos out. That's super sad. They ought to just let them stay there. What's going on? Why not just let them stay there? Fleet Nav, I try to see the comments if I can. Trucker Trader, happy Roller Wiener Monday. Yes. Hello, Earl. What's happening? First time driving I-80 West. Oh, yeah, it's beautiful out there, right? Especially now. Did you see it snowed last week in Rawlins or Laramie, one of those cities? Oh, my gosh, it closed again. That made the news. MT Jackson, handle your own roller wieners in Chandler at I-44 Plaza on Oklahoma and I-71. The 28 and Pilot in Kentucky. It's about time we've been able to handle our own wieners. It's so annoying having to have someone you don't even know, spread your buns and touch your wiener. I just don't like it. James Faust, good afternoon. It's good to see you here. Aviator Trucker, defund the FMCSA. Yeah, why don't people talk about defunding them? What about defunding the government, not defunding the police department? Yikes. No roller wieners, but wieners handled. It seems to be kind of rolling out nationwide, as they say. Chris, happy Roller Wiener Day. You got yours in your hand. That's great. Hey, Mark, creamy or crunchy peanut butter? Well, you know, I prefer super chunk, but I don't ever get it here. The wife prefers Jif super smooth, so that's what we have in the house. I don't know why I don't buy my own peanut butter, but I don't. So would be super chunk for me. Skippy super chunk. Defund brokers. Yeah, they're not funded by the government, though, right? Most APUs can't keep up with really hot temperatures. Aviator Trucker. I guess if you keep, if you keep everything closed up, maybe. But at 100, if you're in the direct sun, it's tough to keep. It's tough to keep up. It has to really be working. I'm from Wyoming. Winter never dies at weights. Nice. You know, the ones that I've had, they probably do it different now. Some of them have had an opening that comes out underneath the bunk. If you could set a cooler full of ice there and let the air blow over the ice, you can make your own, auxiliary air conditioner for it, kind of. That would work out good. If you set a cup of ice or something where we can blow the air over it, it will help. Trucker Hershey stopped at Little America yesterday and the driver mentioned that snow. I know. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, why is 80 closed in June for snow? It closed. Yeah, yippee skippy. Exactly. Oh, defund the ATA. That'd be great. Why don't companies stop paying for that? Oh, they get too much out of it. Right. People get paid to spread buns and touch wieners. That's true. The thing is, I was thought about, you know what? We're going to have people losing their jobs. Not really. They didn't hire extra bun spreaders, which would be an interesting job to have on a business card. It was just they had the people, the cashiers and stuff that were already there doing this extra work, probably also not getting paid extra for the work that they were doing. So that's also nice. So we can get them back to just doing what they were being paid for to start with. I'll steep on the government system. Late place to ride when it's in Queen, the fun love lease department. What the heck were we talking about? Defunding police is a nice soundbite. What city's residents will actually let that happen? I don't know. I mean, the elected officials are talking about it. So crime victims and that, they won't have the police department to depend on. So you're going to have to depend on yourself. Wiener Handler Technicians Union to protest for better pay and more hours of wiener handling. That's true. Those people need to get together. Tyler Perry is paying for the funeral of Mr. Brooks, who got killed in Atlanta at Wendy's. All right. So that's good that he's paying for them. I did see that over the weekend. They burned the Wendy's to the ground, and so no Frosty going on there. So therefore, don't defund the police, restructure, and retain the police. Without police, you have a real problem. You shouldn't need the police, but unfortunately we do in America. Defunding the police, not the greatest plan, I don't think. I don't think that'll do anybody any good, especially victims. What about crime victims? Who are they supposed to call? Who are they going to call? Is Sherwin-Williams a good company to drive for? Is anybody a drive for Sherwin-Williams? They do paint the world. I have heard of that. They paint the world, so I don't know that much about the place otherwise. I did see an ad for this place. I don't know if you saw it this week. Oh, MGL Logistics. I wrote it down. It's one of these Chicago 1099 companies. Holy mackerel. I don't know who would work there. I looked them up because I've been seeing ads for them. Just look up MGL Logistics reviews. Just that's enough to have you not work there. There's tons of people. They only have a 1.1 rating on their own Facebook page. And they've been open for I don't know how many years, but their Facebook page just started. So that's also something. And I couldn't really find a website for them. Huntley. All right. Last Monday, I was interesting in Butte, Montana. I like to say that. 7 inches of snow, all my winter clothes in Florida. I know. What is going on? Why is it still snowing and now it's going to be 100 degrees? Who thinks they're going to need a shovel and chains? The old bunker, of course, you don't have to carry chains right now. So the old bunker and blower AC system, I would imagine that many here have never seen one except possibly at a truck show. Yeah. Well, I will tell you that, just a little bit of science and a little bit of ice, if you can blow the cold air over another container of ice, that would help your temperature in the super hot weather. Might cost you a few bucks to buy a couple of bags of ice or whatever at the truck stop. That's going to keep you way more comfortable if you can do it. But just even if you don't have a cooler, get one of those styrofoam coolers. I would punch holes in the lid and pour the ice in the lid and let the water drip into the cooler as it melts, blows the air over the top of the ice. And every once in a while, you got to pour more ice on it as it melts, but then it helps the AC from the APU move along. If they defund the police, does that mean fine and ticket prices will go up to make up the money? Well, that's the thing. Where's this money going to come from? So theoretically, you wouldn't get a fine. There wouldn't be any police out. Driver poll says drivers are refusing to go into cities that defund the police. Kathy Boyd, I agree. They say it, but are they going to do it? Drivers say a lot of things, and then here they continue to work for places like MGL that doesn't pay you, that have a $1,500 escrow for a company driver, and it's $10.99. So I know drivers say a lot of things, but I don't know if they'll actually do those things. Alexandra is here. Hello there. It's good to see you today. My normal is somebody else's insanity. Yes. Anybody seen rates rise, fall, or stay the same? I have some rates here. All right. So this week I have rates. Van, $1.75. Reefer, $2.10, and flats, $2.01. That's what DAT Load Board says the average rate is. How fast did those come back up? Everybody was griping. Now the rates are back up. You don't hear anything about the rates as much as you did just a few weeks ago. The rates will come back up because now other segments are coming back in. People can go haul what they were originally going to haul to start with. Porta-cool fans are amazing. What is a porta-cool fan? Is that what I made and didn't know it had a name? People talk big on polls. See if drivers actually refuse loads. Exactly. Maybe a few owner-operators might do it, but company drivers are just going to do it. Company's going to say, no, the load goes there. You're going to go there. And so I don't think they're going to do it. Drivers talk a lot in a poll. But, I'm going to get paid for everything, and then they don't do it. So, what is the music in the beginning? That is from YouTube. That is some of the free music on YouTube there. I actually don't know the name of it off the top of my head. Let's build swamp cooler AC conditioner. Yeah, look, if you'll just let the air blow over ice, it will help in the super hot temperatures. Out there, Yuma, I've been out there 120. I don't think it was that hot, but it set it on one of those displays. Okay, that was just not being able to be kept up with. So you kind of had to help it along with a little bit of ice. Big fan with the misters blowing a cold mist. That works too. I don't know how you would do that in the truck. Everything would get all wet, but the misters would work. Alexander, I'm in the crappy part of Memphis. Hopefully I don't get my truck jacked. No doubt. Fortunately, you have those throwing stars there. Yeah, I mean, where are you going to go into a city that has the police defunded? That's a good question. And what will the company say? Probably the company is going to say you have to go. Right. Yeah, Eddie had to go a little bit early because I've got to get out of here early today. So time's going to move around a little bit, I think, for the next few weeks, earlier, later, until I can get back on my normal schedule. MG Jackson, the topic of whining seems to have shifted from brokers to lumpers. I know. So now we're back to lumpers again, where it's $700 to get a load unloaded. Right. Brokers now, it's not now that loads are, heck, reverse 210. Some people aren't, brokers not so bad now, 21 cents a mile. I'll give it to the broker, or however much they take, 30 cents. I still go into cities that want to defund but won't park in them overnight anymore unless we have a terminal in one of the cities. That's a good idea. Go straight to your terminal, but you might not get to the terminal. Did you see in Atlanta, people were out blocking the interstate? And what did the police do? Did they remove people from the interstate? No. They blocked the ramps so you couldn't get on the interstate and run everybody over. Brilliant. How about open the interstate back up? How about that? Hirschbach has a $30,000 sign-on and an agreement to stay. Where did you see that, Richard? Okay, I have seen TLI has a $40,000 sign-on for teams, which would be 20 apiece. That would make this 30,000 the highest I've ever seen. Hirschbach, 30,000. I think we should all go to work for Hirschbach for a year. What's the agreement? Tell me the whole dealio. That's what kids say these days. I'll deliver if I can have an armored truck and armored escorts and Warzone pay. Chris 76. This is getting ridiculous. Defund the police. People are taking over the interstates. This needs to end right now. That's never a solution to anything. It's not going to endear anybody to your cause, certainly. I'll go over the highest paying load I could book, load the wagon, worry about the mule later. Nice. Hopefully the mule isn't one of your drivers, though. Kathy Boyd says, the truck is considered my home. Do I have the right to protect my home? It depends on the state. It's not legally a home because you can't get mail there. So in other words, I have protection, which is against the law, but I rather protection than none. Well, now we could talk about that. Totally agree with that. You sent an email. So, Richard, is this Hirschbach? That's pretty interesting. Now, I'm going to try to look at it. I've never done this, so if I disappear, you'll have to let me know. I may still be on. I might not. All right, I don't have it yet, so that's awesome. I'm looking for it. This has got to be fascinating on the other end of it. Okay, I'm sure it will come momentarily. So there you go. I probably disappeared. Perhaps not. And I didn't get that back up. This is great. Well, Mark, you should do this all the time. You're just wonderful at this. Okay, let's get this page back up. All right, there we go. There's back to comments. And there's this. Holy mackerel, it's too many clickies. How do people do this all the time? So, let's say 30,000, maybe over 25 years. Yeah, what is the deal of it right now? So, since I didn't get that email, how long do you have to stay to get 30 grand? And is it all in money? Because for a while, U.S. Xpress had a $10,000 or $20,000 sign-on. They had a huge sign-on bonus, but it wasn't all sign-on. It wasn't all money. It was vacation and some kind of gift card to the company store for hundreds of dollars of U.S. Xpress merch, stuff like that. It wasn't all money, and it took a couple of years to get all of it. Even at 2 years, it's $15,000 a year. It's nothing to sneeze at. $1,800 a month. Probably double your pay there. Having protection is not against the law. Well, I agree. Depends on what you're hauling around as protection. If your AC won't keep you cool, get water running over the condenser of your AC refilled. At 100 plus, some of the APUs just won't keep up, even with all the curtains closed in the truck. It's iffy. Froglets, you send this to my home, even if I do live in it. That's all received. Well, what if I receive email? Does that count? No, the government doesn't count email yet. So that's why, you still have to have an address on your license. You can't put, like on your license, truck, or that kind of thing. You need an address, a home address for your license. Dan, $30,000 sign-on over 30 years, I assume, to get it. Yeah, I'd love to see how long that is. Alexander's looking into getting a battle axe. If these people want to act like a bunch of barbarians, we could just follow suit. Oh, that would go good with the Love's armor collection as they have over there. I think a battle axe would go great on that. I think smaller, two, so you have one in each hand. Dispatch wants to know when you're hitting the road. Yeah, a couple of hours yet we'll be out there. I'm surprised they don't call. I'm going to look for this. Since nobody said anything, I'm going to look for this email one more time. I cannot stand how curious I am, and nothing. So I'm just too curious to see. $30,000 would be the biggest sign-on I've ever seen. I guess if they can pick you up in a company jet, they've got $30,000 to give you. Now, how aggravating would it be that you already work there, and the new drivers are going to get $30,000 over you? That would be super aggravating. No email. All right, so there's that. No idea when that will come through. I'd sure love to know about it. Your IP address. Could your IP address work as an address? Storage address will work? Huntley, you know what? No, because I don't think they'd give you your mail. It actually might work on your driver's license if you put that address down and like apartment 100 or whatever your storage unit is. But you'd never get your mail. So any mail that you got wouldn't go there. I guess the only mail you'd get would be from the DMV, though. And you'd have to keep the storage. I guess you wouldn't even have to keep the storage unit. You just would never get any mail. You'd have to register your cars there, too. I wonder what the storage unit might say about that. If the APU won't keep me cool, shut it off and take a needle, poke a hole in the hose, and run the truck. Oh, nice. That's a good idea. The address is 1050 Kenworth Avenue. I'm sending you my paychecks end of the month. I've had 2 weeks of over $1,200 and 2 weeks of $2,000 bring home after taxes. Trucking Journeys. That's great. That's what MGL is advertising. Do they pay you as an employee there? Okay, after taxes. So they do. That's W-2. They're advertising $2,100 on 1099. So that's really good money, and that's part of hub mile pay, which I really like. Sir England invested $30 million in their drivers. Yeah, $1 per driver that they have had over the last 4 years. So what would you do if you encountered a blocked freeway and the riders are trying to get you out? I would start grabbing gears. That's the only way out of it. I agree with that. I mean, you certainly can't get out and fight hundreds of people. So you have to consider what you're doing. I will say that you should run traffic all the time in case any of this stuff happens. It only seems to be happening in large cities. Like I avoid Indianapolis now. I don't go that way anymore. I go out through the country to go down to Evansville. So I don't go through Indianapolis anymore because of this. So hopefully that is something that you could do. So just avoiding large cities would be another good idea. They better split the lane. I'm not stopping it. You'd be like Moses going down there. Or, right. I wish they would have all the trucks do 67, Marcus. These guys are so unsafe now doing 75 and 80. Well, how about we all go the speed limit? I think that'd be a better plan, as everybody goes the same amount of, the same speed. Christopher Fields, how you doing? I'm doing super good today. Getting ready to heat up at the end of the week. George Wilson sitting in the McDonald's parking lot on Saturday, US 30 in Douglas and Oswego. Saw my GP Transco go by in white. Oh, because it's too close to me. So it can't be a teal truck if it's going to be anywhere that I might see it. Like I have a nephew that lives up there in Crete area, so he may go by and take a picture of it, so they have to make sure there's no teal ones in the area. You're the unsafe one at 10 to 15 under the speed limit. I think that you should go the speed limit. All the vehicles should be going whatever the speed limit is. That's the safest way to do it. It shouldn't be the limit. It should be the speed. It should be this road is 75. And if you can't do it, you're not allowed on the road. That's how a high-speed interstate should work for the safest transportation. And then companies could decide if they want to turn the trucks up. What about the body on top of the trailer, James Faust? Well, I don't know if you all heard this. All right, so this driver, just a few days ago, is driving under a bridge, okay, and he hears a thump. And he gets out and looks, but doesn't see anything. All right, and he calls the company, and they go, okay, this is on the police report because it's all reported. They go, well, I don't know, if nothing happened, keep going. So he goes, and I guess at some point the trailer even got switched to another driver, and that driver delivers the trailer to some facility in Colorado, and there the dock is higher, and so when they pull up, they see somebody on top of the trailer, and they go, hey, there's somebody in your trailer. They thought he was sleeping. Okay, it turns out the person on top of the trailer was not sleeping. They had jumped off that bridge. That's what the police think. They had jumped off the bridge and landed on the trailer in such a way that if you stood around the outside of the trailer, you couldn't see him on top. You wouldn't think there's a body up there, would you? So I would never think about that. And I guess that they're saying a possible suicide where they jumped off and hit the truck. Really, really something. And the wife and I were speculating, and she thought, well, maybe he... why would he do that? I thought, well, maybe he just didn't time it right, and he was trying to get in front of the truck or whatever, and maybe he thought this is a good way to transport yourself around, better than the hobo life in a boxcar. I don't know, but he didn't make it. And that's some paperwork you don't want to have to fill out. Alexander, I suppose if you want to go out and heroically take a note from the Norse people who took stand at Stamford Bridge. Look, people, you only gotta you only gotta start killing some people, and the rest of them will run away from you. Especially if you come out of there in loves, gear, and battle axes. I'm tired of hearing on the news, evil skin color doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when you break the law. They're to protect people. Exactly. Look, people, we need to stop separating each other into any kind of, where somebody's different than somebody else. Even this women in trucking, which is out there, I don't even like that. I heard them on the radio. I don't like it. Okay, why is it women in trucking? Why isn't it trucking? Why isn't it people? We have to stop splitting into color, into sex, into everything. We all either need to be the same person, right? Or this thing is never going to work. Being, working together, it's just not going to work. Stop splitting into groups. We're better. We're women in trucking, so we're trying to get women. No. We're this in trucking. Don't do any of that. Speed differential in California is a much worse problem. I agree. All the roads should be the same speed. 70, 75, whatever the road is. Vehicles that can't do it, go on the back roads with the Amish. So far this week, Trucking Jersey went from Houston to Minnesota, and then a 4-stop load. Wow, where's Cash King Trucking? He's not going to like that. Down to Georgia and Florida, and now I'm going from Florida back to Texas. Wow, you're all over the place over there. They're really rolling you, considering it's hub miles. And things getting crazy, so if the authorities allow people on the interstate and something happens, truckers should be able to sue. Well, the thing is, they were blocking the ramps and stuff. You couldn't get on the interstate. Rather than removing people, this was in Atlanta over the weekend, rather than removing the people from the interstate, they were just not allowing drivers to get on the interstate. What the heck? Was the body on the trailer dead? Yes, he was dead, and they think that he died when he hit the trailer. They're doing a full autopsy right now, which will take them a little bit of while. Unicorns don't go up through Chicago. I agree. Froglet, I don't mean to sound cruel, but sometimes people use their authority in the wrong ways. They do. That's in anything. That's absolutely true. But you don't defund a whole police department. Okay, you don't do that. You don't defund everybody. Because some people are bad. Let's boot those people out. And the people around them, stop covering up. How's it going running furniture from North Carolina to Minnesota, then on to Los Angeles? Wow, James Abernathy, wow. That's a big run for furniture, I'll tell you that. And that's part of why I didn't want to become a cop, from hearing my grandfather and dad talk about all the stuff that they were doing. Okay, a lot of it ridiculous. Now, this is back from even the 50s, when my grandfather was a police officer, and it was, I'm sure, different then. But I didn't want any part of it. Okay, I didn't want any part of it. Saw a couple GP Transco trucks at the Coca-Cola plant down in Dallas. There were white Volvos, and I gotta say, they look nice. Those are probably owner-operators. That's what I'm gonna assume. If your vehicle can't go the speed limit, you're considered a road hazard, Michael Muller. I agree. If it's 75 and you can't do it, side roads. I've been with Swift 2 years. Okay, Marcus. And surprising how safe and productive the company. Watch your videos and do a lot of research on other companies. I'm dedicated and average $1,200 a week. See, you got it right. All the larger companies like that People seem to do really good there when they are on a dedicated run. And Swift, they're not, they are in a lot of accidents because they have a lot of trucks. Some companies, where did I write this down here? Okay, the company that closed, Park Transportation. Okay, so this company in Chicago closed, and this is a good example of what you're saying. They had 83 drivers, all right? And people say, oh, well, Swift, or look at all the accidents. All right, Park Transportation has an out-of-service rate of 35.7%. Okay, over double the national average, and triple Swift. Everybody goes and makes fun of Swift. Here's a place, oh, well, I'd rather work at this place, nicer trucks. Okay, they have an out-of-service rate that is crazy. And all those drivers lost their jobs, of course, but it isn't these large companies, most of them, that are the ones being in accidents. Swift just is in pictures everywhere because they have so many trucks. But this place, their trucks are totally unsafe. They fail. Can you imagine every 1 out of 3 of your trucks failing and inspecting, being put out of service? Not just getting tickets, out of service. How will they even stay open? Yeah, $1,200 after taxes is great money. They're on a dedicated run. That's what these companies excel at. Swiftly server, no way I'd work there. No grass is greener everywhere. Oh, that's true, right. There's always somebody that says their grass is greener, but sometimes it's greener because there's more sewage over there. How far did he go with that body? It was till that sometime in the next day. I don't exactly know the distance, but this was at night, and it didn't deliver until like the next afternoon. And what I'm saying also is apparently the top of a trailer is a good way to travel. Here's somebody who's not holding on because they're dead, and the body stayed there. So, not bad. I'm impressed that you could jump off a bridge and not go through the trailer or anything. It must not have been one of those plastic ones. Once in a while I get ones with a plastic roof on them or whatever. Oh my gosh, you'd have gone right through that. Am I justified in refusing to go to Seattle because of the whole lot on his own and the safety threat that they have up there? Well, trucking journeys, I'll tell you. You'll have to decide that on your own, right? And see what the company does about it. But if you really think it's unsafe, you shouldn't go because it's your life ultimately that is in danger. All you have to do is modify the first looter's behavior and the rest will scatter. That is always how I tell people. Oh, there's 40 people and I only have a gun with 6 bullets. It doesn't matter. You only got to shoot one person. The rest of them don't want to get shot. So it's exactly how it works. I guess the jumper indented the trailer, kind of make his own pocket to fit in. That's crazy. He wasn't slung off. I know, it's crazy. But he sat there going down the road, dropping hook. I'm glad he didn't bleed out on it. That would have been a disaster. But yeah, nothing happened. Christina, I didn't hear about that. The protesters blocking interstates in Indianapolis. Well, they aren't necessarily blocking interstates there. But I'm avoiding large cities because anything can happen there. So that's the large city that I go through, Indianapolis. So I'm just avoiding it. They're not out blocking the interstates there yet. Who knows what could happen each day. Kelly Patterson, good afternoon from Sioux City, Iowa. Hello there. Truckers' lives matter. The bird who flew 3. Yeah, everybody's life matters. How about that? Who are they going to call with no police? I know. Who are you going to call then? Nobody. Can imagine how it would be otherwise. James, it's Love's Taco Monday. Well, if that's what you want, it should be a roller wiener taco. All those hot spots everybody talking about, I've been through these places and haven't seen anything. Everybody acts normal, if you want to call it that, at shippers and truck stops. That's true, but there's no denying that the interstate was blocked in Atlanta by people. There's pictures of it, of people blocked off where the interstate's blocked and the police closing the interstates or the entrance ramps from the interstate and making the cars get off so people can block the interstate. That's crazy. That's all backwards. You cannot impede interstate commerce. That should be the charge for everybody out there on the interstate. Tell them disperse or you'll be picked up. And then they should just roll police buses in and arrest everybody. We need testing and research on trailer top hobos. Look, doesn't it seem like a great way to travel? Now, I don't think you should jump on there because, it's pretty far. But if you can just sit on there and not hold on, imagine how far you could get if you actually were holding on. I heard Swift has heavy haul in the Pacific. Yeah, they do. They do pay extra. They have heavy haul 4-axle tractors through the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, a lot of times, though, you're going to need to run a Rocky Mountain double for them. So that's a big and a little trailer. So, but yeah, absolutely. Talk to them if you want to move up there. Either give them a call or talk to them about it, certainly. Good morning from California, Day Cab Gear Jammer. It's good to see you, Ed. Holly, thank you for your insight in trucking and industries. This information has been invaluable to me as a rookie. Well, I appreciate that. That is what I'm trying to do. Thank you. Afternoon, rainy and 50 in Cheney, Washington State. Preacher Paul. Well, yikes. I wish. It's going to be double that here. Kim English, dedicated run is the only way to go. That's how you make money and the best home time. I agree. Done them for a long time. Only way I would do it. I mean, how great is that? Keto Walkfit, good morning. I am late, or are you early? I am early because of the Rona. My schedule has changed slightly this week, so I have to get out early, so I'll be in early. We'll be here until 1:30 today. You guys have any ELD questions, let us know, or catch us on our live stream, Fleet Nav Systems. All right. It is good to see you there today, and you're leaving out early. Remember, they have a live show Tuesday at 3. I don't know if I'll be on this one. That's pretty late at the moment for me. We'll see how tomorrow goes, but Tuesday and Friday at 3 p.m. is the live show at Fleet Nav Systems. All right, there we go for that. I heard Swift to heavy haul in the Pacific. Right, that is true. He was early today, yes. Let's see. Wow, Bill. Super Dave Osborne. Oh, I remember Super Dave. Wow. Tried to jump off a bridge onto a semi. He missed, and he's a professional. Well, he should time that better. Apparently, you can just jump onto one, and it will not hurt you. Kelly, until it gets scraped off by a bridge. I thought of that too, but you know what? This guy made it, this body, made it for at least through the night and into the next day without hitting a bridge. Can you imagine being behind somebody and a body comes off of there and goes through your windshield? Oh my gosh. Holy mackerel. What kind of disaster would that be? How do you explain that at work? Well, I was driving and then this body came through, Please, call this number before you jump off a bridge. Seriously. Okay, there's always a better way. Always a better way than jumping off a bridge onto a truck. Don't do it. Whatever the problem is, it can be fixed. We need to... Can you use I-64 westbound in Norfolk through the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel in a standard 13.6 truck? Yeah, I've gone through the bridge tunnel. Yeah, absolutely, right. Is there a toll? I don't remember if there's a toll. That's crazy how he didn't fall off. Dead weight must be a real thing. Yeah, he's not holding on and didn't fall off. So how aerodynamic are these trailers? Very, apparently. Not to mention I get higher than average 56 cents a mile on extremely rare hub miles trucking journeys. That certainly helps. The hub miles, there's a 10% raise right there, 8% or whatever. And then 56 cents is very good. Yeah, I think it's really good. GP Transco, hello, it's good to see you today. And I lost my spot. Okay, there we go. The barbecue trucker, hello from Central Texas. It's been a while. Yeah. What are you doing now? What are you up to now? Preacher Paul will be in Seattle and Vancouver tomorrow. It is what it is. Hey, 50's not bad out. That's good sleeping weather. Misty, dead dude didn't get scraped off the top of the trailer by a lower clearance bridge. I know. Of course, out west, the bridges are a little bit higher, so. Yeah, Christopher Field says, yes, you've been through there plenty of times. It's super interesting, right? You just start driving under the water, so pretty good. Could you give a shout out to George Floyd that was killed? He was a truck driver. All right, George Floyd, shout out. I didn't know that he was a truck driver. All right, doing great. And I totally agree with people. Okay, I don't think that the crime warranted death. All right, so I will say that. I brought a load from Washington State, Ohio. A load from Ohio to Zula. I got a 5 o'clock news delivery. I'm glad I didn't drink beer. Yeah, don't do that. I wasn't saying it isn't happening. I'm just saying we've been rolling hard everywhere. We can have been lucky. Yeah, look, I agree. You've been lucky, and really the problem seems to be out on the interstate. Although, if you're in an area where they're burning the Wendy's or whatever, that's a real problem. That's kind of a pop-up thing. Do you avoid a city because they defund the police? In the future, you may have to make that decision. Trucking journeys, that's the benefit of having a load board on the outbound side. I can choose whether I want to go somewhere. Oh, that's pretty nice. They give me like 6 or 7 different options when they load me. I like that. I like that idea. Didn't Crete and Schneider used to have some kind of thing like that where they had 3 loads you could choose from, something like that? Barbecue trucker, I'm now a police officer in a small town. Really? And don't use chokeholds. That's awesome. So are you like, is it small town like Andy Griffith? Or how's it, what's the story? How big of a town? Roger Pence gets roller winter time. Isn't it? What is a better time than now? If you've got the time, they've got the roller wieners. Great travel till you reach a 13.4 overpass. Well, that'd be a problem anyways, but you reach one of those 13.9 overpasses, that's a problem. Kelly Patterson, the protesters I ran across a while back were respectful. holding signs, talking to people, and moving out of the way for people on sidewalks. That's the way to do a protest, right? A peaceful assembly is certainly protected, and I support any peaceful assembly to petition the government for redress or grievance. Absolutely. But blocking interstate commerce on the interstate, no. I'm with that. So people want to protest, look, go downtown and shout at City Hall all day. I'm all for it. We were wondering where you've been. I know. Now he's a policeman, so we got to watch what we say here. Korean Mafia LD has huge programming problems. Yikes. What, are they just back to paper logs then? They should get geotab through FleetNav. That's true. Why don't they call FleetNav Systems and get a geotab system set up for themselves? They can put it on dark mode. FleetNav will teach how to do that. George Wilson, my dad was on the Franklin Park, Illinois police back in the 60s before he got into trucking. Oh, that's pretty good, right? My grandfather and dad were in Calumet City, Illinois police officers. So, when I was a boat captain, we saw several bridge jumpers into the Mississippi. We had the one land on a barge. Yikes. That's gotta hurt. What do they think? I mean, what do the people on the barge think about that? Yikes. John Doug, there is a toll. All right, there's a toll for it. Probably accepts one of your transponders, maybe. How about that? Both tunnels are tolls. Better be safe out there. Yeah. Of course, if you're in a small town, you're all set. Misty is here. I've worked for companies who write me up for a preventable accident for not properly anticipating bridge jumping wackos. There are people like that. This thing I saw this weekend, Drive, Dreyve. It's a camera system, of course. And what can it do? It can take your temperature by looking at you and track whether you're tired or if you're wearing a mask. So the company can program that you have to wear a mask when you're driving. I don't know what company does that. It can tell you to take a mask, and it can take your temperature. It'll watch how many times you cough. They were talking about it on the show. How about that? How creepy is that? And who's going to get all this medical information? What happens with it then? And they said, oh, well, it's private. Baloney. I'm going to screenshot you saying, okay, I lost my spot again just when I grab your spot at the grocery store. I know. I'm not very good at this. I lose my spot all the time. I'm not, Jay at Auto Transport Intel, professional broadcaster. So I constantly lose my spot because sometimes when you move the little circle thing, it moves too far up. A friend of mine was driving and a guy jumped off a bridge and went through the window in the top of the cab and landed in the bunk. The guy said, what a trip. That would be a trip. That's pretty impressive. If that guy lived, he should get some kind of an award for that. Gear Jammer makes 60 cents a mile now and large quarterly bonuses. That's pretty good, too. If you have an automatic transmission and the protesters in front of you, just blame transmission stuck in gear. You almost could. Especially if you had one of those older ones. You got like a 2010 or something. I think you could. It'd be legitimate. Flying bodies have become a road hazard, not covered by insurance. Oh, what would insurance say about that? I wouldn't have to worry about it. Yeah, what do you think, Ryan? I think it would pay for it under comprehensive, right? Do you support moving the National Guard in, or if needed, the Army? Well, the Army, I guess. Look, in Washington, this thing in Washington and Seattle, part of the city's literally being occupied by protesters. Okay, you cannot do that. They've set up walls. Super ironic. They have wall. Oh, we're going to build a wall. And there are reports that they're charging people to come in there. You cannot do any of that. Okay, why that is not taken back over, I have no idea. That should never have been allowed, and those people should be removed. I would give them 1 hour. That's how I would run the police out there. You have 1 hour to leave this area, okay? Or you'll be removed with whatever force is necessary to remove you, so that this is a peaceful area again for people. That's how I would do them, 60 minutes. And then I would send in Dan Rather. It's raining, the coronavirus. Franklin Park, Chicago outfit territory. Oh, nice. Right, I love that. Let's see, who do I have here today? Oh, right, arresting. Since we're so wired up from out there, how about arresting cat today? How about that? Was sent in from an astute viewer as well. I don't have a name on the cat, though. Typical, as soon as the sun hits them, they sleep. Gracie's back there sleeping in the sun, of course. Town of 1,200, 2 other officers. All right, so small town living, nice. Probably still carry a gun, but okay. Look, as long as you like it, do it. Depends on what highway in Atlanta. Most trucks aren't allowed through the downtown of Atlanta. Supposed to take the Beltway. They are, but if you're in town, you can make. If you have a local delivery, there's tons of local trucks that need to make deliveries. Besides which, they were stopping everybody from getting on the interstate there. They were blocking it off making people get off the interstate. So you can't do that, okay? You can't do that. And some trucks can, go in town. The driver that transported the dead body is a good driver. He didn't make any sharp turns. Yeah, very professional. I know this guy should get an award. Safe Driver of the Year. Dead body didn't even fall off the thing. GP Transco, we have a month-old kitten in orientation with one of our new drivers. The office staff is freaking out. That's not old enough. Where's that cat's mom? 1,200 to 3. Heck, sounds like a party every 3 parties, and the 4th is good. In South Dakota, when the oil boom was at its height, but there 3 years ago, and the locals getting kicked out of their land and homes due to cost increases. The trains would average 2 suicides a month. Remember, that's never a solution. Whatever the problem is can be solved. But people getting kicked out of the land and their homes due to cost increases is different than protesters moving you. You don't have a right to rent at a certain rate. Like here, they could raise rent to whatever. They could triple my rent or whatever, and I would have no right to say, well, you don't get to do that. Whatever the free market bears is what the free market bears. If it's too expensive, move. Like we moved out of Hampton just because of the crime many, many years ago. That's why I came down here. And everybody should do that. Parrot wear is becoming more fashionable. Oh, was it ever not fashionable? You should have one on. You have to, as a driver, you have to have one all the time anywhere. If you wear it, of course, make it a parrot. But as a driver, no matter where you are, you're supposed to wear that. Yes to suicides per month on just one small 30-mile stretch of tracks. That's too bad. I mean, there's always a solution. It's hard to see, of course, when you're in it. I get it. I do not know George Floyd's a trucker. I didn't know that. He'll be riding with us in spirit. I had no idea. And there's been plenty of information put out about him. They've never said that I've seen. Been watching Walking Dead too much. The Chicago policemen dare to create disorder. He's dare to preserve its disorder. Mayor Richard Daley. Wow. Mayor Richard Daley. I wonder how many people in here know that. Her name is Kitty, Christina Childs. Oh, okay. Well, that's clever. But don't they all come then? Hey, Mark, I got a 2020 Cascadia, and I installed 6 6x9 and 4 15s. Wow. Huh. Funny they don't want borders, but then they put up borders. I know, Preacher Paul. I thought that was the funniest thing. Oh, we can't have any borders at the border. And what do the people do that are occupying Seattle? Put up a bunch of Jersey barriers and stuff as a wall. They put a wall up. Love it. My company pays crap. Trucks are crap, but I can take off anytime I want. And they have really good freight. Leave or stay. Can't make up my mind. If the job's not worth doing, it's not worth doing. There's tons of companies. So, and especially with the pay is really low. Take off anytime you want. Is it worth getting home to take half the pay? GP Transco, 2-month-old cat. That's better. I feel better at 8 weeks. Still young. It'd be my luck that I got stuck behind the dude who fell asleep in the Wendy's drive-thru. Carlos, dang it, this guy falling asleep in the drive-thru. That was what precipitated this whole Atlanta thing. Somebody fell asleep in the drive-thru. They call the police because it's usually drugs. That's what it is, generally. And so the police come out, wake him up, but he grabbed a taser. It's on video, okay, and then got shot for it. And so that's what started all this. Lesson, do not grab at police weapons. I'm going to be listening, got to finish painting my house so I could sell it and move to the Gulf by the 1st. I got a job delivering booze. That's pretty good. You were wondering if you're going to get a job down there, so it wasn't that hard at all. Roger Penske was a strip club bouncer along with the police officer. I did see that they knew each other at the same club. There was a personal grudge. That's a big grudge. You can have a grudge against somebody, but that is a really big grudge. Nothing against the public protesters, but the Army needs to step in and bring peace back. Oh, I totally agree. It's a peaceable assembly that you're allowed constitutionally, not occupying however many square blocks of a city and calling it, renaming it and not allowing police in. No, that's not how it works. All right, 60 minutes. No, they come to their names. Oh, so each cat knows its own name. That's good. You're doing better than me. I cough and choke most of the day on camera. I'm in an effort to get sent home. It doesn't work. Well, see, maybe they need this drive camera, DREYVE. It takes your temperature. The guy said it can read, somehow it reads the skin under your eyes. This is what he said. And it can look in there and know your temperature. It can see a pulse change. So if your pulse starts going up or down, it can see that, and they said that your company can then call you and ask you how you're feeling and that kind of thing. So it's giving your company health information basically about you is what he's suggesting. And he said, and like he said, which is, the engineer of this is a typical non-driver. Well, drivers don't have to allow it in their truck. They just wouldn't sign with their company to allow them to do that. Well, the company would say, get lost, you're fired. It's not how it works. That is not how it works. If George Floyd was a truck driver drove for Western Express, I don't know that to be true. I'm in Minnesota now, and everything is pretty calm. It was in Detroit, and they were protesting and shutting down the highway. That should not be allowed. I hope they have you seen it. Would you signed up for the insurance company for the courts on top of the trailer, and then did he get double waiver to be there? Yikes. George Floyd, let's see. James Faust, let's see. It's good to see you there again. And who do we have here today? Oh, right, this cat. This is the way it's going to be at GP Transco. How about that? This cat will be at GP Transco cruising around, and that's exactly what it will look like. I love it. So report GP Transco, there they are, showing those who occupied part of Seattle, putting out a statement that homeless people came and took their food. Now they're asking the pub to bring them food, since now they have none. What? No. We don't bring them any food in there. Why would somebody steal their food? I thought it's for the good of everybody. Why shouldn't other people be able to get their food? These people, look, clear them out of there. That it's gone on at all for more than 5 minutes is crazy. Barbecue trucker, I work in a small town of 1,200. 2 other officers, I only get 1 bullet. And it's in your pocket too, because you got to load up. I've never been tased or shot by the police because they don't fight them or take their taser. I know. I've never been arrested by the police or had bad encounters with the police. Isn't that amazing? I tell this to everybody. Go with the police. Okay, they're wrong. Mark, they're arresting me wrongly. I don't care. Go anyways. Go peacefully, and so that you can end up fighting later, right? They specified that they would like vegan options as well. Interesting. Really? They would like vegan options. Well, they can buy whatever options they want from their house or jail. This is crazy. It's easy fixed with sunglasses. Not at night, I guess. You could wear mirrored glasses, though. Jeanette, being a vegan affects the brain in a negative way. Animal day and protein needed for high cognitive function. Well, that's part of these people's problem then. Now we know why they're occupying part of Seattle. Their brain has been affected. This cannot be allowed in the United States. Oregon and Washington State Police have allowed Antifa to do that nonsense. It's nothing new. It should not be allowed by anybody in any city. What about the people that live in this area? Because a friend of mine said, you set turn off the water and electricity to this area. No, you can't do that. There are people living in this area, people living there. So that would turn off them. So you have mothers with their babies, no water, whatever. You can't do that. We just clear out the people that are breaking the law. Just sweep it through there and clear them out and arrest all of them. I love the blue parrot phrase. If you wear it, make it a parrot. It's the best going. Talking about the CDL life thing, truckers refusing cities that don't have the police. Yeah. Truck driver, they did a survey and they said that some drivers are going to not deliver or go into areas where police have been defunded, as they're calling it. So I was asking here, who here agrees with that and will be doing it? Agreeing with it is one thing. Doing it is another thing. Because a company theoretically could fire you if you don't go, theoretically. Of course, they can fire you anyway. I love the garden they made in Seattle. They have like a garden and stuff, but if they don't have any food now, it's going to be a while before they get tomatoes out of this garden. Key to walk fit, have a great day and be safe. There on the right coast, got to get back to the grind. All right, thank you for being here today. They shot him because they couldn't tow him. Yikes. We won't speak ill of the dead. I might not have been arrested a few times. And I may or may not have fought a time or two. May or not have been tased more than once. I did take his taser and tased him too. That's probably not a great idea, as you'd probably admit. Jeanette had a cop pull a gun on me for a third lane violation in Indianapolis. I guess he thought it was a Meemaw. Wow. You were a Meemaw gangster. That's pretty rough. Pulling a gun on you for that? Well, of course, you got out of the truck and said, what? What? You're like, what? What? Walking back to him like that? It's a hostage situation. I know. This can't be allowed in America. That's like not America up there. Part of the country's being occupied by people. They don't like being tased by their own taser, and that becomes personal. I bet that wasn't a pleasant day for you. The police should find out how many vegans in the protest and attack them with meatballs. I thought they should go through this place in Seattle with help wanted signs. I thought that would scare everybody out of there. Big company drivers won't stand up for anything. They will lose their job. Presumably, a company can say, look, you have to go and deliver this load. If you refuse, you're fired. I could absolutely see that happening. I refused to deliver a load of lumber to Home Depot in Minneapolis. My company said, okay, right now it's just one load or whatever, but I think if say they defund the police there completely, and then so your company gets loads and nobody will take the load, I think it becomes more of a problem. And I think you could have a problem with your job. I agree with it, but right now I don't drive anymore. I fix drivers' flat tires now. I appreciate it, especially on the interstate. And there's going to be some coming up this week at 100 degrees. Drivers never check their air. A hammer is not an air gauge. Okay, and so they're going to be blowing tires all over the place. I couldn't live in that truck anymore, still have a CDL and DOT medical. You should always keep your CDL, no matter if you stop driving, I think. Keep it active. You don't like to be tased by any taser, barbecue trucker. Did they make you did they tase you for the job? I didn't know if they do that with police or not. Instant regret after the incident I got you. Okay, so right. See, that's exactly it. They hungry? Well, they should go get jobs and buy their own food. I think that'd be a great thing. What do you think about Antonio Brown? Okay, did you see that this week? So he purportedly attacked a truck driver, which was on video, household goods driver, right? And now he just pled no contest to a couple of other charges, not attacking him. So he will not have a felony. He's got to pay some kind of fine and do a bunch of anger management, but he's not going to jail at all. And he was over, of course. What do all movers do when they show up? Oh, there's extra costs or you can't get your furniture. They did the same thing to him, and he didn't like it, apparently. And that's why I tell people never use a mover, because I cannot tell you the number of people that have the same kind of problem, but he used a mover, and they got attacked. It was on video. Police settled with him. No contest. Anybody move and ever been attacked by anybody? They already voted to disband the Minneapolis police within a year. What do they plan to replace him with? People going around singing Kumbaya and, stuff like that. I say defund the bad cops, Kathy Board, which there's a very small percent. Most of our police are good. They just don't put their life on the line for the pay. Exactly. Look, the police, and certainly they should all boot their own bad cops out. Instead of gathering around them or whatever, boot them the heck out of there. Absolutely. Then we'd have much better. Yes, they do, and you have to be tear gassed. Neither's fun. I had to be tear gassed in the Army, but I didn't. Why do the police have to be tear gassed? On a force that has 3 officers, you have tear gas weapons there? What is going on in that small town? Andy had the rifles locked up. Peter Griffin tried to invade Joe's backyard and called it Pretoria. That is true. The government didn't stand for that and sent the Army in. I know. They gave him a chance. They turned off his water, but that was just to his house. And, yeah, right. This is exactly what should happen. Antonio Brown was the worst fantasy football draft pick you chose a couple years ago. Okay. Yeah, they said something like this was a football player, right? And he's going to try to get back in the NFL. I don't know anything about sports, but I know that this person is a known name in the news. And he attacked a truck driver. That's why that's in the news. And I wondered if anyone moves and has ever been attacked by a person that they delivered furniture for, especially after trying to hose them out of extra money, which they do. Columbia, George, hello, fellow driver, taking a 30-minute break in Bend, Oregon before starting a delivery. All right, you're getting close to occupied America. I'm from a very small town. Everybody knows everybody. 4 policemen total. Wow. Leo's madness. Till it happens to you, you don't know the evil in cops. Well, I grew up with several police, so. But you're young. Yes, that's true. And you've yet to experience it firsthand. I won't be experiencing any problem with the police because the time that I'm not at work, working, I'm at home. So generally, I'm not doing anything, that would get the police involved in anything that I'm doing. So I assume that during my lifetime, I'll probably not get involved with the police in any kind of serious way. By the way, most people don't ever get involved with the police in a serious way. Jeanette, my brother's a sheriff. They made all of them get tased when they issued them. Really? My brother said it's very painful. I bet it seems painful. Also, taser doesn't work on mental or meth heads. Yeah, you got to just shoot them. Always get the forehead. Do you guys live in the same town? I know. What's going on? Okay, that was in training. So if you're not, I just can't imagine the police having to go through tear gas training. The reason they blow tires is because they run recaps on brand new tires. That's possible, Mr. Wiener. So who did a study? Somebody did a study, though. Firestone, a couple of years ago, they went out for like a 100-mile stretch and picked up all the chunks of rubber they could find on the road, and to see if they were new or if they were recaps. And it turns out 80% of them or something, some huge percent, was new tires. Way more new tires than recaps. Police work 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Really? Same variation of that. So if you make 40 a year, that didn't happen in my house. Okay, my dad had a regular schedule, worked a full week like everybody else does, and then a lot of overtime. So maybe in some towns they do that. And he could not take a car home there. Some cities do it. Here in Lafayette, they also do not take their cars home, but the Indiana State Police do get a car. I'm conservative and support the police, but after watching the whole body cam of the Georgia shooting, I believe it was a bad shoot and more training is needed in de-escalation. Michael, I support the police too, but if you're going to grab some cop's weapon, I'm on the other side of it probably. That's probably not a great idea. I don't think anybody would think that's a great idea to do. We can all agree to that. Don't go after a police weapon. J-Man, good to see you still doing great. Yeah, doing wonderful out here. Yeah, Mark, if you're going to carry a taser, you have to be tased. Same with gas. And Dad was a state trooper and he was marshal. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, but that's okay. So with the tear gas, but what he's saying here is that they don't have tear gas on their forces. 3 officers there. So why do they need to gas you if you don't have a tear gas? Adam, need a shotgun in the truck, shoot and keep on rolling. Kind of like, Fast and Furious? That would work out good. I think that's a problem if you're a company driver. If I'm not mistaken, they're calling it community policing or private cops. What is community policing? So it is. I'm almost right. So it's bands of citizens in tie-dyed shirts, which they have to be in, singing Kumbaya through the neighborhood. I love it. And handing out vegan treats. I don't know anything about sports, which is what made fantasy football that much more fun, I bet. Just picking random people. That's how it would work for me. Other than I know this person is some kind of sports star. And they were moving. It looked like a Mayflower truck, but I couldn't swear to that. Every county needs a sheriff like Brady in Polk County, Florida. If you haven't seen the sheriff, search him on YouTube, Kathy Boyd. I will look that up. Oh, okay, the barbecue trucker. We're supposed to have a tear gas gun in the closet, but no one can find the key to the closet. One of you ought to be able to get in. Ask one of the criminals in jail there to open the thing up. Fleet Nav system is heading out. Stay safe out there. Join us on the live stream tomorrow if you're free. Call in and talk, right? And also the lightning round at the end. Don't forget about that. The lightning round where there's many prizes and to win. Gifts, trips, cruises, lots of things. They have a trip to Seattle Occupied Zone coming up, I think, tomorrow on the live stream. So that's going to be a lot of fun. You have to bring a box of vegan food out there. This is America, Wild Bill. So didn't the guy hauling the dead body in his roof get charged with kidnapping? No, because the guy was a volunteer. He actually was able to log as a team. So he ended up not having to stop. So that was pretty nice. Sierra England drivers should be the ones protesting. They should. I don't know. There's the protest. Stop taking all this low money stuff. Right. And there we go. Recaps are pretty impressive. As long as the casing is good and it's kept right, they're good to go. Michael S. Yeah, I mean, they found a huge percentage of the tires were new. I was really surprised at that, too. M.G. Jackson, the cop who killed George Floyd was wrong. The 3 cops who stood by did nothing wrong. I agree with that, too. I thought they should all face the same charges. The person who recorded the whole thing but did nothing to help was wrong. I agree with that, too. What should the person recording do? I mean, if you jump in, you're the next one. But I guess there were enough people around that could have done something. I agree. And everybody would have got up and at least everybody would be alive. At some point, the public has to say, enough. You're not doing this anymore. You advance towards a police officer's weapon, they can kill you, no questions asked. Ryan, I agree. I mean, once you start grabbing people's weapons, you got a problem. You're taking literally the life into your own hands. It's a real problem. Because who knows what you'll do next. Has anyone addressed the quantum agreement between J.B. Hunt, Walmart, and BNSF? Is this like some kind of science thing? Do they have an agreement that is beyond what we can see? But no, what exactly are you talking about? Police have a right to shoot you if you try to disarm them. I agree, Alexander. Absolutely. You're going to take their gun, and especially you get one. You get the tasers. Lucky you got that. All right? I think you got a problem. That person's got a bigger problem. Alexander's headed to Mississippi. All right. At least you're out of Memphis. Of course, it's right there. The training was by the county sheriff's department. I just don't understand the training if you don't have the weapon. Somebody find a key. We need you a key to get you a key. Go get the guy to jail number 2. We don't have a jail. They go to county jail. Oh, I was going to tell you to go get Otis. He could let himself out and get you in that cabinet. Freeloader Express now with great rates just might be a bit windy because you're on top. I'll tell you what, JJ, that's probably a better ride than going to Salt Lake City in a Greyhound. So there. Hey, three bunk truck with a law preacher, Paul. You know what? England probably got on that. They're like, oh, wait a minute. We can put people on top of the trailer and they won't fall off? All right. Jeanette, I can only imagine the smell of the occupied zone, no baths or deodorant, and Crocs. Yeah, it's got to be quite pleasant down there. Patchouli oil everywhere. Underinflated. I think so. I think that's what the biggest problem. People just whack with a hammer. Oh, that sounds great. It's got 60 pounds in it or whatever. And then Friday here, we're going to maybe approach 100 degrees. And so full load at 100 cruising, that is tough on a tire. Barney Fife wanted to modernize the sheriff's department with tear gas. Did he really? Did they say that there? What do they need tear gas for? The Darlings coming out into town? I mean, why would Barney Fife need tear gas? Holy mackerel. I don't remember him doing that. So we're going to end the food trucks at the rest areas. So if anybody's been getting their food at the rest area, that is going to end. Okay, so Tesla also, this is for GP Transco as well. Tesla says they're all out on semis now. They're going to start making them. First deliveries in 2021. So you should start seeing Tesla trucks on the road in 2021. I can't wait to see those on the road. That's going to be super interesting. I hope they'll have some kind of sales area or something where you can go and bother them, because usually the salesmen don't know anything about the truck, so I'll have a lot of fun with that. The barbecue trucker, I thought a lot about the Atlanta shooting. I feel that I would not have shot him unless he turned and ran towards me. Let him run away, but this is with time to think about it. Right, you got to decide that right then. What do you do on the spot? Now this person, who you probably think is on drugs, because they're either on drugs or drunk. That's why you fall asleep in a drive-thru like 90% of the time. And so he grabs a weapon and is running from you. Now he has a weapon, and there are innocent bystanders around, citizens, as they said on Batman. Hello, citizen. What do you do now? What if he tases a kid or something and kills him? I mean, you have to think about that. So the person with a weapon, you have to stop that person. It's easy to think about it later. Like, oh, maybe I wouldn't have shot him. What do you do on the spot? That's what happens. Person recording should have called 911 to explain what they were seeing, get a supervisor there. Okay, that's MG Jackson. That's good. By the time the supervisor came, that would have been over. I think that on the spot there, the only way to save that person, George Floyd, right, would be to take action. There'd have to be a group action taken on the spot. Most people see new tires and think they're good without checking. Yeah, oh, these tires are new. They're fine. No problem. Crime rate in New York 1974 is pretty low because of the Charles Bronson Act, right? The socks with quarters. That's the way to do it. Creepy Joe is here. It's good to see you. Are you ready for the second lockdown? Oh, is that coming? Media reporting high COVID spike. I guess it made an alarming return after protests. Really? People here, at least in Indiana now, and anybody that comes to Indiana, presumably, there's no, you don't need a doctor's note or anything to get tested. So if you are in Indiana and want to be tested, just go online and find the testing sites and go get tested. In Indiana, you don't need a note. They're testing everyone that comes in for surgeries. My wife is having another surgery next month, and she has to go get tested before the surgery. They won't do surgery on you if you're positive, so she's actually going to get a test with a doctor's note. But right now, you don't need one. So if you're in the area and want to get tested, hey, stop by one of our wonderful Indiana testing sites and get tested. I don't know if you need to be an Indiana resident. You may want to call ahead and check that in advance. Underinflated is number one, then punctures and then heat damage. I think so, because the underinflated part, right, that how much more heat do you build up in the tire and it disintegrates? There'll be tons of people on the side of the road for that, and some will be on the side of the road because their radiator's half full. Oh, I didn't know. I had no idea. I checked it 4 months ago. It was fine. Most of the tires I've seen blow off have been on RVs and boat trailers. I see those too, and people, so they sit their RV forever, and the tires are useless by the time they go, and then they go, oh, let's drive our RV to Colorado tomorrow when it's 100 degrees out. No, you can't do that. They're like the tires on my car, which are all, the sidewalls are all cracked, they're all rotted away from mainly from sitting. So because they're 5 years old or whatever, but they're totally cracked and dry rotted on my car. I wouldn't take it on any trips. Do not adjust your tires' air pressure for the temperature. The engineers are well aware of the increase in temp due to road conditions and friction. Roger Penske, I'll tell you what. There's very few drivers, I bet, that go and adjust their tire air pressure based on the ambient air temperature. I'll tell you that. There's got to be less than a dozen drivers in the country that do that would actually go adjust their tire pressure for that. So I don't think that's a big concern in America, I'll tell you. Froglid, why do you need to be maced? Oh, maced. Have mace on your belt. Why do you need to be tased? We have a taser on your mouth. Why do you have a gun on you? Does that mean you have to get shot? To the now that I. You need to clean that up and retype it. All these protests, everybody forgot about COVID. Yeah, we forgot about it for a couple weeks, but now that they're getting less of those, they need to bring some other way up to keep us under control. J-Man, but will Tesla be as good as Maxxforce? Wow. Which one will run longer? Yikes. Summer 95, I drove air freight company across from warehouse. I was doing security living out of my car and trying to get on Elk Grove Village Police, but I did not make it. What did they, I guess it's tough to get on. I never tried to get on the police, but I guess you never made it on. What did they say the problem was? Korean Mafia required testing about 2 weeks ago. Oh, nice. Nice. My company is not required or anything, so the Roger Penske, you tested negative. That's good. And we'll find out about the wife, I guess, so she may have to quarantine herself. I don't know. She really doesn't go places, so she's been trying to stay out of it, out of the whole thing. Company requires masks here. They handed out one mask to everybody, although there is a bag of masks you can get in the office, which is generally not open when I get in. So they give us all a mask and say, hey, wear this wherever you need to wear it for like the next 3 months or whatever, the same mask. So all this kind of stuff is ridiculous. I bought my own neck gaiter to wear. I think it's a little bit cooler wearing everywhere you go than a goofy looking mask. So I guess I don't have any movers on here that have overcharged people. I thought that was pretty interesting. That's what he said, is that when the mover showed up, Antonio Brown, that they tried to charge him more money. That happens all the time. So he got mad about it. You can't fight the driver about it. Mr. Wiener, it was wrong the way they killed George Floyd, but the idiots protesting are praying the wrong person. He was a criminal that broke the law and did prison. He was in prison before, but what the problem was, that what he did, which we talked about last week, is an offense that you can be arrested for. And so you just have to go. You just have to go. And say, well, Mark, that's wrong. Because they'll continue to call people until you go. So you don't have any choice. You fight it later. And what he did is certainly not worthy of a death sentence. Not at all. Cassie Boyd, I've been behind the wheel since 97. I've never blown a steer. I've had a couple trailer tires blown. I haven't blown a steer tire in a few years. I did get one blown a few years ago in a construction zone where there was no shoulder. And I had like a mile to go. And so the steer tire blows. And I just blasted through it like 35 through the construction zone. And then pulled over on the shoulder. And I asked the guy that came out about it. I said, I drove that pretty far on a rim. He goes, oh, no problem. He goes, they're tough. No, and he put a tire on it and never had a problem with it. Again, I don't have that truck anymore. But I never had any more problems with it. So apparently the rim's pretty tough for an aluminum rim. And I haven't had a tire blow really this year yet. So maybe Friday could be my day. The barbecue trucker, the officer on his employee's neck looked like it was sitting over a trophy. I agree, right? He is gonna go to prison. He should have been removed from the force after being told. I agree. He should have been removed many years ago because of his poor record on the police force. They shouldn't tolerate any kind of excessive use of force where they agree with it. They shouldn't tolerate that. Maybe one retraining. Second one, you're done. You're done. Do people use that radiator flush in a bottle for big rigs? I used it on my Nissan when doing a super flush. It looks like brand new highlighter, yellow color, 30,000 later. I don't know. Whenever I change it in the car, I just have them dump it and refill it. So I haven't used that stuff in a while. I have used the stuff in my cars, not recently, that plugs holes up or whatever, and that stuff seems to work okay, although it's not recommended. I don't know about using it in a big rig. It's never been changed in my truck, so it's an 18. They don't really change it unless there's a problem. They pretty much don't change it. They said it saves money by not changing it, and so I'm like, oh, okay, great. How can there be a second lockdown when there was never a first one? That's a good question, isn't it? My training is you can top up a hot tire to 120 if low. Never take out air. Don't top up any tire that's below 80% full. It should be inspected first. If you go in here and your tire is low, they always take it off and look and see why it was low. When am I getting a pickup truck? Never. Probably never. So we'll stick with the SUV for the wife, and I'll probably keep a sedan for myself. I almost ran over some protesters in Winston-Salem last week. Interstate 40 was shut down, but I still made it through. I wasn't going to stop. Remember, you can't just run people over. We don't want people being run over. So try not to do that. Batman is your favorite TV show. Original Batman, of course. Elephants are the best. Thank you for saying that. Mary R is here. You should still have... where did I go here? Right. Oh, you still have to set up cold tire pressure. And I would say setting up the temperature or the pressure for the temperature, that is just not done. Okay, by most drivers. It just isn't. And certainly reducing it for the heat or whatever. Oh my gosh. See, when running super singles, how do they handle on blowouts? Well, you're certainly going to stop and get a tire put on. Insurance says they would cover my 22-inch Texas-style bumper. That's good. The bed bugger tax. I know, that's the problem with movers. They come, whenever they get them to your house and look around, they go, oh, all this stuff, $300. Okay, and you go, okay, and you sign a contract, but the contract says they can charge extra for extra fees and stuff. And then when they show up at wherever you're going, they go, oh, we had these extra fees, and we had to give you 3 boxes, and so now it's $4,000. And if you don't pay them, they keep your stuff. It's widespread in the industry. It shouldn't happen. The contract should be the contract. I'm all about contracts. If you make a deal, you keep it. You keep your end, they keep their end of it. But they don't do that. They have all these ways out of it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And so I always tell people, never use a mover. Never. Just, you're better off selling your stuff and buying new stuff, because you're going to end up paying that much for the stuff you brought over there as well. You might as well just buy new stuff where you go. Then all you need is a U-Haul or something small to load, personal possessions in, leave all your furniture, and just go to the new place. I'd rather you boxed it up and sent it UPS than on a moving truck. The police union is the problem. They should protect bad apples. They should not protect bad apples. It won't. It won't happen. Right, I agree. Look, police and all that, no matter who it is, when they see somebody, that is doing something like that wrong or whatever, it has to be reported immediately. And then the top brass, as they come, whatever, have to act on it immediately. And that's the only way to get people to believe in the police force, that everybody out there is legitimate, even though most of them are. Most of them are, but a few bad apples spoils the whole bunch, right? Right, Michael Jackson? Remember that one? I forget, Antonio Brown might have thought he was being extorted or something. He probably was. That is total extortion, in my opinion, which is, as Fleet Nav System would say, not a legal opinion. Because the driver picked it up without payment in the first place and then refused the delivery spot. That is classic moving company. That's what they do. And then they see this guy, Antonio, who's a sports star, right? Even though I don't know him, if he told me his name, I'd be like, I remember that name from somewhere. I'm like, oh, this guy's got money, right? We'll just keep his furniture. Right, exactly. But he still cannot. What he should have done is call the police on the spot right there, and rather than fighting the guy. Okay, that another one. He should have called the police there, but he didn't, and he fought with him. He got caught on video on it, and I was not convicted of that. But none of this should ever have happened, because once they do a contract at your home, that should be it. No further charges. Super single, needs a tire and rim on it. The cop is still entitled to his $1 million pension for what he did. Really? Once you get fired, how do you still get your pension? If you're fired for cause, how does he get $1 million pension? But if you're fired from any job for cause, you should not get your pension. Unionized public employees is racketeering and extortion. But the other side of that is people in trucking that are not union and have to sit around and don't get paid anything. If I mask up, I use a bandana. I have extra. I tried that too. I have a bandana here. I looked like a bandito, like I was going to rob a train or something. I thought if I had a cowboy hat, this might look okay, but I decided against it. Having trouble seeing me. We'll talk to you later. All right. Ironic, the missionaries, Mormons love to help blue people. Who are blue people? A driver at my company left ice cream in his truck over the weekend and melted. I can imagine how that smells. Delightful. Always take everything out of your freezer or leave it on so it'll start itself if the battery gets low. Yikes. Mr. Bean, I bought 3 houses, moved 3 times. I hire family and friends. At the end of the day, I throw a carne asada and a bunch of beer. Modelo's and Dos Equis. All right, that's the way to do it, right? And at least at the other end, you get all your stuff, and it didn't cost you that much. Being extorted by a moving company is ridiculous, and I don't know why it doesn't end. I had to have steer tires put on not too long ago. Police said that they wanted 110 cold in the tires. Well, after I left Schwab's, I put down to 95. That's just crazy. I've seen some trucks, even some of our trucks, have a little sticker. Not all of them. That says, 110 cold or whatever, 95 cold. Yeah. I mean, it's their tires, I guess. Because of the state union contract, they shouldn't allow that. If you're fired for cause, you shouldn't get your pension. Okay, only if they fire you for no reason, just go, you're fired, then you keep your pension. If you're fired for cause, you shouldn't get a pension. You're fired. That pension is throughout the lifetime benefits, and it's in the contract. I know the contract should say that if you're fired for cause, you don't get any pension. You just can't get a pension. And I agree with you saying that. I actually never thought about it until you said it. But Antonio, you people, like Rush. Antonio Brown, I didn't think about it then because I don't know that much about sports. But right, if the driver knew who that was, and presumably has a nice house, but there are a lot of people with nice houses. So if the driver knew who that was, they go, oh, you know what? I can get this guy for a couple $1,000. He's got all kinds of money. So, yeah, absolutely. But that kind of stuff, at worst case, you keep any, historic furniture or furniture that's been passed down to you. But you can U-Haul that away yourself. All the big stuff, just leave it or have your family and friends help you if they'll come and do it for apparently some beer, which is a pretty good way to do it. When I did the coolant flush, the fluid was pretty dirty, so I figured that it helped clean it out. Maybe. Also flushed it twice with distilled water and filled it with fresh, just like Chris Fix did on his YouTube. I love that guy, Chris Fix. I watched him years ago. He did a video about how to clean your windshield. I thought, this guy's doing a video about cleaning your windshield. And then I thought, I'm watching a video about cleaning my windshield. And that's how I clean my windshield now. And I wax my windshields because of that guy. If you're fired for cause, you should lose it all. Yeah, that's what I think. If you get fired for cause, why do you have a pension? Why do you have health care? Everything ends. You're fired for cause, even out of a union deal. You shouldn't just get to keep all that stuff. What's the point of firing you for cause? Heck, that kind of pension might be more than you make at your next job. Idris Maya. Hey, old man. Hey, what's happening? We're just in our extreme upper 30s here. That's as much as we're doing. By the way, Live PD got canceled. I don't know if you saw that too. Live PD and Cops got canceled last week. I watch, not Cops as much, but I would watch Live PD every Saturday. I really like that show. So why do we have to cancel Live PD? How does any of that, none of that changes what's happening. And all that does is aggravate a lot of people. It was the highest rated show on A&E. So that doesn't do any good either. You can't, which is a good way to put it, whitewash history like that or what's going on. Live PD is just people going around with the police. You can do that here. They have ride-alongs here in Lafayette. You're allowed to ride. You get to sign up, and you can ride around with the police here and see what's going on. So, Rich Hutch is not union. Been sitting there all day for load issues, getting paid. Oh, that's good. Thanks, Mark, for the Dollar General doing better. All right, you're quite welcome, and it's good to see that a place does it better. You're waiting, and they're paying you. That's the way it should be, right? Perfect. So you're fine there. No problems. Wouldn't it be great if all companies did that? Wild Bill, Donnie Osmond, one bad apple don't spoil the whole bunch. I know, but Michael Jackson redid it better, I thought, the Jackson 5. So there. Cash King Trucking, what's up, everybody? Hey, the problem is, Cash King, somebody's got a 4-stop load going out here. I thought you'd be all about taking that load. Roger Penske, I like Live PD. Yeah, I know. I watch that every week. Why should a comfortable man, have to lose his pension because he gets fired? If you work for that pension before he's fired, no one should have to lose a pension because you get fired. If you're fired for cause, part of the deal would be you lose your pension. And when you're a union, there's plenty of appeals and fighting the firings and stuff. So, but when you're fired for cause, you lose what you've earned. Lose it. And that would be in the contract. I'd put that in the contract. You only get your pension if they fire you without cause. So if they walk up to you and go, you know what, you're fired, you keep your benefits. But part of the deal is if you're fired for cause, like excessive force or whatever, you don't get your pension. Minnesota is one of 4 states that has a union pension rules. Yeah, it's crazy. I personally, I wouldn't do it. They're saying Law & Order SVU might get canceled as well. They talked about all the police drama shows. They want all those dramas, police dramas, off the air. How does that change anything? How will that make the country better? Well, Bill, yeah, Cassius King is in the house. He heard about that four-stop load. The first president of the FLCIO, George Meany, not related to Colm Meany from Star Trek, believed it was impossible to bargain collectively with the government. Publications detail the trouble with the public sector unions. Yeah, well, I don't know. You can deal with anybody. Contract, they work it out, and you gotta, as long as everybody signs the deal, you got a deal. Once I do a year on this police gig, I will be hireable by the trucking companies again. 6 companies refused to hire me because I'd not worked in the last 12 months. You might like the police gig, though. I mean, you'll be home every day, and, you'll deal with the finest citizens, but you may like it, and that might be where you go then. Casualty 4 stops you're in. I know you can add them to the 3 stops you already have, and then you'd get a regular load out of it. Can we get those 4 stops scheduled super early? You're done with the 4 stop by 9 in the morning. You've already done 4 stops. If I drive again, I want to pay by the hour. Did a year like that, and it was good. Michael S. I think that would be the best way in trucking. Then all this waiting time, any trailer blowouts or whatever, anything, it's all just paid. Nobody'd speed too, right? Because you get paid by the hour, and you'd log everything, because I would make it so you only got paid for your on-duty time. So all your work, driving, and on-duty, that would be paid. Now you're going to log everything legal, aren't you? Absolutely. If it were me, the stops could wait. Yikes. No, they got to go early. Like this driver here, that sent me this picture for Napa, right? Napa out there paying. They pay you to do paperwork. They pay you for your stops. They pay detention immediately. All that kind of stuff. That's his truck there. He sent that in. That's a way to do it at Napa. Get paid for all of your time. And I like that truck. So, there's another driver sent a truck in too. I don't know anything about the pay here, but I thought this was a pretty cool picture. How about that? And there's my store too, Meyer, right? And that's a Cincinnati buyer. Awesome. So there you go. There's some of that. Shouldn't have to cause or not. If a man worked and put money in that pension, he should be able to keep it. A comfortable man, I would say no. I'd say part of the deal in this contract is if you get fired for cause, you lose everything. That would certainly encourage police and other people like that to not get fired for cause, I think. I could almost agree with you that any money they put in, they could get back out at firing for cause. I'll go along with that. So all that you've put in, the money you've put in, you'll get a check for that. Kind of, cashing it out or whatever. But that's it. That's as far as I'd go. Mr. Wiener, have a nice day, marking. Everyone have a nice week. I'm jumping so you could play some PUBG. Okay, whatever that is. Thank you very much for being here. I don't know what that is exactly, because I'm behind the times. Creepy Joe, this whole outburst against cop has got a lot of shows canceled, including Paw Patrol. They canceled Paw Patrol? Oh my gosh. How does that change anything? That's always my question to protesters or whatever. How does that change the future? How does that change us going forward? The issue with live PD is that everybody that resists arrest says either, oh, my arm, or of course, I can't breathe. Yeah, of course. Oh, you can't handcuff me, I got a bad shoulder. Right. I know, watch it every week. Cloudy and 75 in Minneapolis. That'd be nice, although it's only going to be 77 here today. Get that air running in that truck, though, because it's going to be close to 100 at the end of the week. They should bring back America's Most Wanted. I love that show. John Walsh did a real service with that show. I know. I like that, too. No more what you're going to do. I know. When they come for you, right. They're going to follow you. I never like cop drama, so I don't miss the 8 different Law and Orders. Cash King Truck. My wife watches them. She's recorded them all the way since the beginning, watches all of them, so that she's not going to like that. But how does that change anything? They're not real. Okay, they're not even real, so I don't know how that changes anything. Like, the question is, how does that make the country better? The issue is that the unions donate to the re-election fund of the politicians. Oh, of course. That's trucking, and that's in everything, right? Trucking, ATA, unions, police unions. Oh, totally agree. Just got home from delivering 280,000 cage-free eggs. Who would put an egg in a cage anyway? Yeah, what's the point of having... And how many cages would you need? All these little tiny cages? It's crazy. I didn't know you did eggs, but I guess... I always think yogurt when I think of you. I don't know why. I just heard that some are calling the police dog on Paw Patrol to be... That's crazy. Paw Patrol. Who takes Paw Patrol out? Hank Spurlock. Are you related to Spurlock from... Supersize Me? Yeah, I worked on the oil field, got paid by the hour. Love it. Isn't it great? Hourly plus overtime, I think, is the best way to do it. Is an egg carton not considered a cage? Oh, people put themselves in cages too. I've talked about that before. Everybody's put themselves in a cage, and you don't realize that you have the key to that same cage. I can see them making up causes. Yeah, they do. Great movie. Was blacklisted. Mississippi burning because of the flag. Oh, right. We can't. NASCAR ended the Confederate flag at any of their races, which I support them in that it's private. So it isn't the government doing it. It's private. People said freedom of speech. No, NASCAR is private, an organization. So they can say no flags in here. So I support them in that. All these pedantic people are paying. No, Alexander, what's going on? When we cancel Paw Patrol, and nobody will stand up and say this is ridiculous. This is where we are. I was always nervous watching America's Most Wanted. I was afraid I was going to see someone I knew on there. I was always afraid my picture was going to come on there. Like, oh, I didn't know I was even wanted. So with all the money spent to take guns away from the people, the only gun they got was Elmer Fudd. I know. And some police departments, depending where you were saying people need to go out and protect themselves. Gun sales, they talked about this in Virginia, through the roof. Through the roof. Cloudy and 75 in Minneapolis is perfect for protests and riot weather. That's true. That's good. Actually, you're right, that at the end of the week when it gets hot, people won't be out protesting. They don't like to get out when it's too hot. 106 in Phoenix. Yikes. I'm going to take a dip. Wow. Speedo City out there. Call came in. Time to work. Michael S. Been a pleasure. Keep up the good work. All right, it's good to see you here today. If they take NCIS off the air, my grandmother will come down there and set them straight. I know. That's who's watching it. Exactly. They love that guy on there. He's married to a Mindy from Mork and Mindy. Pedantic and derogatory for accurate. Is it true that TV Land channel is dropping Dragnet? Really? Dragnet? Oh my gosh, my wife tapes Adam 12 every day. She's watched him so many times. I didn't hear about that. She would be the first one to say something about that. NASCAR hasn't been NASCAR for years, so no surprise there. That's okay with me, though, as it's private. They can do that. They're just doing it to pander. I get it. But it's private. It isn't the government taking anybody's right. People forget about their freedom of speech, is that the government can't restrict your speech. Okay, the government won't restrict your speech, but a private organization can restrict your speech. There have been a number of drivers over the last few days, maybe last week, that have been fired for their statements. Now, some of their statements are crazy or way out there, I think, but they certainly have a right to say them. And they were mad they got fired, but you cannot be out there in your company's uniform, okay, making political statements and not expect anything to happen. Okay, so yeah, you still have the right to say it. The government's not going to stop you from saying it, but your company might fire you. Absolutely. Are all those out-of-work dogs in Paw Patrol getting rescued? I hope so. I hope they're getting placed somewhere. They probably collect that extra $600 on unemployment. At Napa, do they pay you to sleep? Sleep? No, but they did pay for everything else. It pretty much paid all kinds of extra time, which I thought was pretty good. Polk County Sheriff instructed residents to buy a gun and protect themselves a few months ago. Yeah, that's the way to do it. You're almost going to, if people are going to occupy part of the city, that's going to be the solution. When NASCAR eliminated Winston Cup, they became a yuppie sport, especially when they put Jeff Gordon as an announcer. Well, they got to put the face of the place out there, right? TJ Jones. CV-19 spike in my county. Daughter has symptoms and just went to get tested. Grandkids have symptoms. Wow. You have no symptoms. All right. Well, I hope everything works out. So presumably your daughter and that are younger, and I hope they are okay. Like I was saying to people before, in Indiana, if you want, you can get tested now. You don't need symptoms. You don't need any reason. That was just on the news. So if you're in Indiana, you can get tested at any of the testing facilities. What about Car 54? Where are you? Oh, I hope they're going to cancel that too. What about My Mother the Car? They're probably going to cancel that because Don Knotts is in it. Stop resisting is a cop's favorite line. They do say it a lot. Maybe that's not Don Knotts. That's Jerry Van Dyke. That's right. You're going to take the Nestea plunge. You need to. Nobody on here remembers that, but probably 4 of us. But I know what you're talking about. Barbecue trucker, they're calling for canceling cop shows and shows with the Confederate flag, but All in the Family's still running. Oh, yeah. Is it? That's great. They haven't got to that yet. What show with the Confederate flag? Dukes of Hazzard. They're going to cancel Dukes of Hazzard? One of the best shows on TV? I would like to see a combination of hourly pay for line 4 and mileage pay for line 3. Some places do that. There are some places I've seen that do that. They'll have a lower mileage rate. 30 cents, sometimes 25 cents, plus $8 or $10 an hour. So for all your line 4, and then so many cents a mile on top of it. So those hours you really do good. So I've seen a mix of it in some places. But then it takes you a lot longer to get to overtime. Oh, what's up, cheese? Nice. Al John's Car 54 was awesome. That's what I'm saying. It's going to make its final call finally. Adam 12 would serve as a good model for how cops should act. I know. Nobody was very violent on there to anybody. I mean, holy mackerel. Of course, a lot of people really complied on the show as well. Oh, they're going to cancel Chips too? Where's Eric Estrada on this when you need him? They can't cancel Chips. What the heck is going on? Paw Patrol and then Chips? Live PD, cops. I'm going to look up Adam 12 because the wife will not be happy about that at all. That would go. So if they cancel all this, and what about all the police out of work? How come nobody thinks about that? Oh, right. All these people, oh, we need jobs. Well, you're going to put all the police out of work? What are they going to do about jobs? That isn't great. TV Land canceled the Dukes of Hazzard several years ago. So, but is it not on TV now anywhere? I mean, our channel's not going to show it because of what the show is. I'm 48 and was a Nickelodeon kid. Nickelodeon kid. So I remember My Mother the Car. That show was awful. It wasn't a great show. Look, Jerry Van Dyke, probably not the best actor in the world. Oh, Highway Patrol? That's, oh, right. Will they cancel Route 66 because the guy became a cop later, so I guess I'm reading of Andy Griffith. That's true. Andy Griffith would have to do. Father's Day giveaway on the show next week for GP Transco. Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, I think we could do that here. There's GP Transco information. You could be treated like a professional there, too. Now, you might not get one of these teal trucks, no matter what you tell them, but absolutely. That'd be great. I forgot it's Father's Day. Nestea plunge was just drunk people falling into water. It still cooled them all. Don Meredith drunk? I'm not sure about that. They're talking about canceling the show Law and Order SVU due to what's going on. It's been on the air for 25 years. Why now? Why haven't people protested it all up to now? And changing a TV show like that doesn't change anything. Doesn't change what's happening. Cancel all the cop shows you want. It doesn't change anything. Call a motorcycle cop punch and you still risk getting pistol whipped. Right. Confederate flag represents outlaw like Josie Wales. But a private organization could say, look, on a cars here, whatever, no Confederate flag. So I support them because it's private. I would never support the government saying you can't fly a flag or whatever, something like that. No tobacco advertisers or sponsors. Oh, right? Yeah. When I worked at Six Flags over Texas, they changed the Six Flags to all-American flags because one of the flags was a Confederate flag. Oh, I never noticed that. There isn't one around here. The nearest Six Flags would be in Gurnee, Illinois, and I haven't been up there for a long time. I didn't notice that one of them was a Confederate flag. What were the other 4 flags then? Presumably they have an American flag, a Confederate flag. What are the other 4 flags at Six Flags? I never really noticed what they were. Six Flags over Texas. Let's see, what do I have over here? All right, so I have this truck here for this week. Oh, right. I just wanted to show this. How about this is the inside of an old Kenworth. How about that? Now that's trucking right there. This is what people say when they go, oh, let's go back to the good old days of trucking. These are the good old days of trucking. There's your cab of your truck. What do you think about that? Does that look like a good old day of trucking to you? I'm going to say that steering is probably manual. And I think the lever down there may be like an idle lever. I'm pointing at it, which you can't see. Maybe a vent. Either way, not great. Penske was Marlboro until the government banned tobacco. It's tricky time to be a company these days. You have to worry about losing customers, but at the same time, you don't want to censor employees. It's getting pretty complicated. GP Transco. I think you can censor your employees. Certainly, we've got that in our handbook, driver handbook, and it's always been that here. That if you say something publicly, that you don't speak for the company. They've always said that. And if they link the two together, they're not going to like it. So, you can tell people that. Look, you're going to go talk on there. Don't link that back to us because you're going to have a real problem with it. So they can't wear like all their GP Transco gear and that jacket you get or whatever and then go blurting some weird stuff out online. It's going to make you look bad. You can't make the company look bad and expect to keep your job. I agree. Got a jet? Oh, right, Kathy Boyd. Nice. Be careful out there. Thanks for being here today. Let's see. Somebody, I don't know. I missed that. The flags were all national flags of countries that owned Texas as well as the state flag and the come and take it battle flag. Oh, okay. All right. That seems fair over Texas, right? So years ago, they took the Confederate flag out of there. But again, this is a private organization, and if they want to remove the flag, I don't have any problem with that. Pour a little to the right. Your finger is covering the screen. Pour a little to the right. You could probably make upwards of 8 cents a mile back then driving that old Kenworth. Oh, right. Exactly. But that might have been good money then. There are flags that flew over Texas, Mexico, Spain, France, Confederate States, and Texas. Okay, fair enough. The good old days were not that good. Exactly. This is not the best days of trucking. That would have been a hot truck, hard to drive, horrible suspension. We don't want to go back to that, especially at 100 degrees. I was passing an acquaintance of Ernie Terrell. I don't know who that is, I guess. George Wilson, the only cop shows that were based on fact were Dragnet and Adam 12. Right. So these new shows, they're not true. They say right in there, it's only coincidence if it has anything to do with real. Thoughts about a company driver leaving a bad review about his existing company instead of calling up the dispatcher and seeing what's actually going on? I would say it's not a great idea. Certainly if you plan to stay there. But we don't know, what the dispatchers told him. Sometimes you call up and they don't call you back. I've had that problem here. You call people, nobody calls you back. So I agree, but I wouldn't leave a bad review about an existing company. I would assume that it's going to be my former company very soon, and I think if you saw that, you have to assume that driver's going to leave. Daniel Columby, good old days. I haven't had to adjust slack adjusters right on pavement in the center. Exactly. How about adjusting your own slacks out there? No, we don't have to do that anymore. Auto adjusters, just one good reason right there. Wow, Bill, do you have to be a father to win? Nice. Maybe not a friendly truck, but back then a truck driver was more respected. True, but they got that respect. Have you seen the videos of drivers in a shirt and tie driving around in this kind of truck and just being, regular people stop at the, counter, whatever. So drivers were better drivers and they respected themselves better than drivers today do. You come out, filthy shirt, you're all like a scumbag. And in the truck stop swearing and stuff or talking on your headset, which drivers have to wear. Come on. Part of it is our own problem. No paternal testing is required to win. That's good. I'll have to put that in the comments, in the rules. Looks like one old Kenworth truck, like no power anything. Exactly. No power anything. No vent, just a vent, no power for anything. That was driving in, 50s, 40s, 50s. Looks like the original Six Flags only flew at Arlington, San Antonio, and Atlanta. Okay. Go back to no air, no superhighway, sitting on a wood stool. No thanks. Right, and this truck was before the interstate system, which they just started to build in the late 50s, right? And are still basically building at it because it keeps crumbling apart. But this truck would have been all US 30 across the country or whatever. And no air ride, just sitting on a couple of leaf springs. If you're lucky, drivers as a group need to act better. Respect is earned, not owed. I agree. Exactly. Drivers, when you look, you don't have to be swearing real loud at the truck stop. There's families in the travel center now, okay? And that's why you don't get any respect. We almost don't deserve it sometimes. And it's the same with police and everything. Same with drivers. So one driver goes in there and swearing up a storm, and then that family who then leaves thinks all drivers are scumbags. And we should police ourselves the same way the police should, by booting those people out of the industry. Although I guess that's really hard to do. Joel, the United States Marine Corps turned my buddy away for having a Confederate flag tattoo because he couldn't prove his family fought for the South. Don't they allow tattoos now? They're allowing tattoos that can be covered or whatever now, right? I mean, since when did the Marines turn somebody for a tattoo? We have a number of Marines at work here, and a lot of them have tattoos, so I don't know. Maybe. Elias is late, but here like always. I appreciate you being here. Like a shirt with 1 week menu. Yeah, exactly. Okay. You can, new shirt. They have washing machines and stuff. Come on. GP Transco, we're trying to decide what type of driver do the next episode of the Story of Drivers. We had a husband and wife company team, a solo owner operator. Maybe a solo next, right? How about a solo company driver? How about that? Or ask for volunteers. When I was training at Werner in Indy, I saw more rebel flags than I ever saw in Mississippi. Was Indiana even a state in the Civil War? We were on the north side. So we were on the side of the north. I've always wondered that, which they just took them down this week. In Indianapolis, some statues, some Confederate statues. I've always wondered, we fought for the North. Why do we have Confederate statues? They're not from here, is what I thought. So, but who knows? Inside voice and practice patience. Yeah, you don't have to go in there and don't smell bad. If you can smell yourself, okay, go Febreze yourself or something, please. Rhino, depends on the tattoo nowadays. I thought if you could cover it, so you could have a whole sleeve as long as it covers, I thought you were allowed to have tattoos. They used to ban tattoos, I guess, but now they don't. Oh, wow, Bill would like GP Transco to do the story of spotters. And he will volunteer for that job. Right, the story of spotters at GP Transco. He is trying to get in there on that. Not sure on the tattoo situation for Wild Bill either. Were you a Marine? I don't know about that. Now, though, they allow the tattoos that they didn't used to allow. All right, so vans, $1.75. Reefer, $2.10. Flats, $2.01. They actually said today that 2020 is going to be a better year than 2008, even with all this. And that's what DAT said just today. That overall, the whole 12 months will be better for freight than it was in 2008. If any of you were out there then, I'm sure a lot of you were, it got pretty thin for a while. They said it's going to be better than that when we get to the end of the year. That's pretty interesting because they said it's almost recovered now. I heard the interstate system was formed for the military. The original interstate had 1 mile of straight for every 4 miles for use as runways. I've heard that too, but then some people say no, it's 1 per 5. Some say no, that's not true. But I think, with Eisenhower being in on it, it probably has some kind of ring of truth. He was over there, right, when he was over there, World War II, and said, wow, what a great way to get around, in Germany. So let's do the same thing here. And it has worked. One time Indiana had the highest KKK membership. Yeah, well, maybe. Not a member, but maybe. But we fought for the North in the war, so I always wondered, why are there Confederate statues, especially in Indianapolis? We were actually thinking about getting a spotter. Now that we have 500 spots. Wow, you do need a spotter. Over there, really? How else do you get the trailer? That many trailers moved around. You have 500 trailer spots? Might be better for freight, but it won't be for drivers. Well, if it's good for freight, it would be better for drivers because many drivers were reporting low freight, and I don't get those emails anymore. That lasted for 3 or 4 weeks, and now those are over. Apparently, people are back to running like normal as the freight gets back across the board. Alexandra, I have multiple tattoos. They can all be covered. That's a good thing. Some of my tattoos are questionable. Right. So if you get a questionable tattoo, you want it somewhere where it can be covered up. Because some companies may say, hey, whatever those tattoos are doing to each other there, we can't have that. So, yeah. The interstate highway system denies that issue of the 1 mile straightaway. I know that's why I've read that they say no, that's not true for landing planes, but it does make sense that there would be a map that the government has that says, all right, these spots, here's where you have 2 miles, 1 mile straight with no bridges, that kind of thing, where you could land a plane of whatever size. It makes sense. Eisenhower built the highways for military usage. It would work out good. You can transport troops around, land planes on them, and everything. They'd have every bridge mapped out. I totally believe that it would totally work out. Ike was impressed by the Von Autobahn and thus creating the interstate highway system. Yeah, he said this is a good way to get people moved around. And then they immediately, and Nixon's like, 55 miles an hour is plenty. And they're like, crap. I thought it was going to be the Autobahn. GP Transco says dry van freight is back to normal, generally speaking. That's good, because I think now that all the crops are coming in, they said a lot of the spring crops are now coming in, all the reefer drivers that came over to pull around some van freight moved back over to go do what they were doing. And now that building can start up again, we have all the flat drivers that came over. They're back doing their thing. So everybody's pretty much back to normal now. Drivers are not scumbags. No, it's just like everything else, right? It's such a small percentage of us, but then that's the guy, it's always that guy that the news finds to interview too. Oh, here we have a truck driver, here, let's talk to him about it. And it's some guy with chew and, hasn't showered in 6 weeks, and he's a disaster, and spits into a cup right in front of the people on the camera, whatever. No, that's the guy they always talk to. Kind of like when there's an alien reported, they always go find the one weird guy. Oh, I've been abducted 40 times, right? I'll get on the news, right? 55 was cargo during the oil embargo. 55 was long before that, because I have the cars with the 55. I had the cars there with the 55 around them, so 55 came and went a few times. If you remember that, the little circle thing where the 55 was in a little square on your speedometer, and the speedometers went to 85 miles an hour, which I think is actually not a bad idea. Maybe 100 would be plenty. Like the Escape shows 140, which is pretty optimistic. Even my Sonic shows 130 on it, which is very optimistic. That's what they said. It's digital. They said it'll go to 130. I'm like, I don't know if it'll go to 130 or not. Not on 138 horsepower. But either way, no. I think that for quite a while we had that 55, and then they're like, oh, well, look at all the gas this will save. No. They do that on purpose, find the worst possible to represent. I know. They're like, let's pick this guy. He looks like a disaster. Wild Bill, you have 3 are any of them inappropriate where people could not look at them? Where you would feel like if it was out, a company would fire you for it. The people have those. Eisenhower also did the first Army cross-country road trip. Took over a month. Wow. Can you imagine taking a month to get across the country? That's when you were driving this thing around. Can you imagine a month in this to get across the country? I mean, that's crazy. That's why drivers would have got paid by the hour then. Would have been the only way to do it. To be gone for a month to get across the country? That must have been long before we had like US 30. Roger Penske doesn't have any tats. Not a convict. Carney, you're crazy. You don't have to be any of those things to have a tattoo. Of course, people get tattoos for lots of different reasons of various things, certainly. Some, though, companies might say, hey, we can't have that tattoo out because it's horrible. That kind of, or it might say, like you work at a company and you have the name of the company with a line through it. That wouldn't be a great tattoo either. First truck drivers wore suits. Big Mike, that'd be something. And a lot of the videos you see from the drivers from like the 50s, 60s, they're in a shirt and tie driving around. Most of them are in a shirt and tie. We're going to be talking with David Hollis on the Truckers News Podcast this week. Anyone here listen to the show? No, I don't know. Is that everywhere podcasts are available? So we could download that on our podcasting app. And who is David Hollis? Is he a driver, or how did you find him? Or how did he find you? I don't know who that is exactly, David Hollis. And I have, let's see here. Oh, right. Even the cat wonders who that is. Who's David Hollis again? Not sure. David Hollis. I have a tattoo of a St. Louis Blues logo. All right. I have a tattoo of an Adam being loaded on my back. That's interesting. Then I have a tattoo on my rear end. Well, hopefully that one is not out where people could see it. It'd be like, wait a minute. No, pants, please. It's just sitting, you're like, it only says no shirt, no shoes, no service. 1 month must be a horse wagon. I mean, without roads, I could see it taking a long time. Let's have an autonomous zone for truck drivers in Seattle, Elias. Let's get these people booted the heck out of there. I mean, holy mackerel. And to be occupied in the United States, they talked to maybe the mayor, who's a woman, right, of Seattle, because they want to get back in their police station there, which they abandoned, even though they said they didn't. And they asked her, well, why don't you just go back in the police station? And she goes, I think it's the mayor said this, oh, it's not safe for our police to go back there. I'm like, if it's not safe for the police, what about citizens? The police are what make it safe for the rest of us. The police go in there and make the area safe. You send as many police in there as you need. They need to pull buses up and tell them, so you got 60 minutes, you're going to start filling these buses up with you patchouli smelling people, and you're going to be out of here. It's simple as that. The attitude of truckers was better then. The truck stops were better only because most of the mom and pops are homemade cooking. The truck stops were certainly better. You didn't have any chains. Everybody owned their own truck stop. Everybody got cooked food for you, not a triangle sandwich. GP, is that on Sirius Satellite Radio? Oh, that's interesting. Isn't the world supposed to end soon? I thought murder hornets were going to hear it. We're going to end it. I have a tattoo of a Kenworth on my throat. Really? It seems like that'd be really painful. Imagining our headquarters being taken over by protesters. Oh, you're going to have to hire armed guards for your, maybe arm everybody. Oh, Illinois, that's a problem in Illinois. We're just going to have to go through training. That's not a bad idea. Get a couple people. I bet somebody in the office, it's a pretty big place, has a license. Tell them to start bringing their gun to work and carry it. Borg and Warner drivers wore ties and had to have polished shoes. Oh, that's when you could get the shoe shine at the truck stop, though. Because I remember seeing those still, where there was a shoe shine place at the truck stop. You could sit there and get your shoes shined. I mean, usually it's boots now, they get them shined. But some truck stops, seems like Scranton's coming to mind for some reason. The Petro up there had a shoe shine corner where you could get your boots shined up. Yeah. They also gave them City Hall. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. It's just brilliant. The Seattle police reported that women are having problems in the zone. Yeah, I believe it. Why aren't they going in there? None of this should be happening. Yes, it hurt. I bet. I can't imagine getting a tattoo on my neck. I don't have any tattoos. I've always thought about it. Don't have any. I was going to get a tattoo of a person giving me a tattoo, but I didn't know how that would work out. Constitutional carry for truckers. Yeah, I'm one of those people who think you already have that right. I don't like the laws to get a permit or whatever to carry. That's not how it was set up. But I think get some people at GP Transco headquarters. Maybe every trucking company should do this. Maybe every business should do this, where they get people trained up, if that's the law, which I still don't agree with it, but absolutely. Corvette speeds still go to 160. Yeah, but the speed limit is never the actual speed of the vehicle. Okay. They still have it a few, so there's still ways to get your shoes shined, which is good. Can't even get your shoes shined at the train station anymore. Also gone at the airports. Oh, I'll drop the wife off in August, but I don't remember seeing a shoe shine place last year in Indianapolis when we went down there at the airport. West Memphis has a shoe shine booth. Is there anybody in there to shine your shoes? Well, but all your tattoos are family friendly, all right? So they won't mind having you with those, no problem. Elias, we need a militia accordingly with the Constitution so we can protect our communities. We're going to need to. We don't have to protect them from the government or anything. Apparently, we're going to have to protect them from insurgents, from civilians who just come in and take the place over and the police just leave. The truck is basically your house. Basically it is, but it really, for legal purposes, right, you still need an address. A home address is what they consider your home. Alexander, pants are optional, the truck only. Yes, that's always the way to do it. Truck only. No shirt, no shoes. I guess pants, they ought to add pants. Yeah, Rhino, don't forget when you get out, it's hot out. Don't forget that. And then end up walking into the truck stop going, oh, sorry. And they go, hey, nice tattoo. You go, well, thank you, I think. So that would be pretty good. So as I said, I have to get out early and head out. Don't forget about joining OIDA. How about that? I'm a member. You should be a member too. Everybody be a member of OIDA. Maybe it's our only chance to do anything. I don't know. They're not the greatest, but what else is there? Let's look at it that way. I mean, what if every driver joined? We could change the place. If we all joined, we could vote in people on the board and stuff to help us, because you get to vote, do the things that we want. So there's always that. And don't forget to get a roller wiener this week as well. So I didn't talk about Jay, which I should do, of course. Jay's live tomorrow on Tuesdays, right? The car shipping channel, business channel. Go see Jay live Tuesday at 9 p.m. Holy mackerel. And GP Transco's here today. Talk to GP Transco if you want to hire in at a good place where freight is back to normal, which is really good. And they have a teal truck, but don't tell them that I promised a teal truck. So Fleet Nav Systems was here today, live Tuesday, 3 p.m. And Friday at 3 p.m. So I'm going back to this, doing more clickings. My schedule has changed slightly. That's why I have to. That's why I start early and end early. I'll probably start early again next week. We'll see how it goes, though. So today, Mark Ely was here first. I had Michael Muller first, though. When I put it up, I think I put it up Friday this week, late. Ugh. Rhino was here today. Thank you for being here. Wild Bill in the house with family-friendly tattoos. Thank you for being here, Alexandra. Joel was here. Elias Lopez, thank you for coming in. Hunsley. Al Johns was here. How about that? Big Mike Pruder was here. I love it. The Barbecue Trucker, thank you for being here, officer. I appreciate it. Let us know how that goes. You may really like it, and you may stay there. Daniel was here. Joel Hendricks. Thank you for coming in. Let's see, where do I go off here? As I always am, my comfortable man was here. Thank you. We may have a difference of opinion, but that's okay. Kenneth P. Hello there for being here. A Trucking Journeys was here today as well. Christina was here. Thank you for coming in. I like seeing everybody. George Wilson, Kelly Patterson was here. Cash is King, making stops, of course, and coming in, though. Imperials NYC, thank you for being here. But I do have to head out and to work. Roger Penske was here, of course. Oh, and Creepy Joe. Watch those hands. But thanks for coming in anyway. James Faust, thank you for being here today. It's going to be a hot week this week, okay? So get that air conditioning fixed if it isn't already working, because it may be as much as 100 degrees. So be safe out there, and we'll see you on the next one.